Good morning. It's January 6th, 2024, and this is the Wall Street Weekly Wrap-Up with your host, John Newquist. And an ugly week at that. Started out with a lot of negatives, and we'll get to see the numbers. Let's take a look at it, because we got some things that we did in the portfolio that are pretty eye-popping. Well, we started out with our techs, and all of them, essentially had a hard week. Microsoft, little red at the end. Microsoft, Wedbush says, taking a clear lead in AI. Well, if you've used OpenAI, which Microsoft owns a chunk of, they updated to April 2023 for the data. You can get daily updates that are current. I can see a lot of people using it instead of Google for certain information when you want answers. That's going to be the change. We think the small caps, S&P 500 or 600 small caps are going to be probably the sector. It's been flat since 2018, 20% higher in the winter of 2021. I think this is going to be the year a lot of them will do well. It's kind of like the transition year. We get the election coming on, which is means we can get okay earnings from the techs, but we may get a lot of the laggers pick up too, which is the S&P small caps. So we bought RZG, just kind of a basket. I like the ETFs when I have something I want to buy, a sector. You can try to pick out the winners of it, but with small caps, I'm not too fan of it. Too much volatility. And the indicators, if we look at it, the 2-year notes at 4.39, so it went up during the week. Crude oil still in the 70s, and natural gas is 262. Gold's hanging above 2,000, and copper, if I just pull out the monthly chart for several years, you can see the years we have economic downturn, like 2008, COVID years, copper drops. So people use this as a barometer. We can see it's got a much better chance to go higher. None of the averages were positive this week. The S&P 500 was -1.5. The NASDAQ -3.3. Everybody got into it, and they're getting beat up. Of course, we're in the Russell in a way with the small caps, 3.68 down. But it's a long game, But a lot of people, so go January, so goes the year. This is ingrained in a lot of people and a lot of traders. So we have to watch this issue, and that's why everybody's watching the market. We've got a basket of 10 biotechs we picked in addition to our other ones we own, like Merck and Novo Nordisk. But I just picked this one because it made some news. BNTX, big stock, did a lot of stuff with COVID. But it broke out of the triangle, as you can see. And it's a stock that I think is going to be good. You got to look a little long term. Now, the way we're going to work these 10 biotechs is if they're up for the year, we're going to keep them. If they start dropping like 20% down, we're just selling them and then put the money in the other biotechs. Not full positions. This is a basket. So, whatever you want to allocate, 3x for a basket or 1x, where each one's a tenth of your units of, you're buying in a stock. But it's just a small portion because I do think it's going to be good. And I just try to pick the basket. This is what you mean when you go through it. It's a lot of stocks. A lot of people like to buy the biotech industry. I don't think that's as good because there's a lot of bad biotechs. So, unemployment came out unchanged. A lot of people don't like that news. They think, well, this means we're not going to get all the rate cuts. I'm not too worried about the rate cuts. I'm worried about the economy. I'm worried about the growth. If I get growth, the stocks will go up. If we don't get growth, then that's when we're all going to have some problems. They matched this one, the payroll and the growth, and you can see it's been flat, and the jobs are still going in there, so not bad. Apple, the number one stock. There are a lot of rumors that Microsoft's going to pass them this year, which could happen because Microsoft is growing. Apple 4 quarters of negative revenue, and this is not what you want. This is what I call the waterfall. It starts going down and then it drops a lot. So there's an antitrust. I don't worry so much about it. If anybody can fight an antitrust, it's going to be Apple. It's just it's a negative channel. You hit the top. But if it does come down here, we got to buy it. That's when you're going to start buying it because, they are dominant. They make billions a year. Forget about the growth rate. They make billions a year. So does Verizon, makes a lot less than Apple. But you know, this is a company that does have loyal customers, and we would want to buy if it gets down to this level way down here. Merck, boy, you think this was a tech stock? Holy smokes, it just shot up. This is what I call a parabolic one. 3-phase trial for oncology. I like Merck. You know, we've been in for a long time. You know, you got to pick some of the leaders. I think the pipeline's always been good with Merck. But you can see the biotechs was just tough last year. I mean, it was just a tough place to be, and now everybody wants a part of it. So, J.P. Morgan has got a biotech conference next week, so Merck's going to be presenting, and a lot of volatility during that conference because people are going to get their hopes up or are going to get their hopes dashed. You know. Another one of the 10 biotechs we bought was what I call, Moderna, a biotech. Again, it started going up, and we got in, past the breakout. But, this is a stock that was, easily 4 times higher than that. I think, if we look 2026, 5 products, if you can figure out how to do the vaccine, you got the talent to do other things. So that's how I always look at it. The talent is there. The stock has been, beaten up because the COVID revenues are down and down and down, but you're going to work on other things, and I think, not a bad stock to buy at a fairly, cheap price. When we go into the, heat map, you can see it's ugly work. Only the healthcare, and Lilly, of course, with their, GLP-1 drug coming out. That's the one this stars. Verizon and AT&T, well, that's their moment in light. Not a stock that I would buy. Energy did all right. Exxon's making money, even at $80, even at $75. Remember, people are telling me that 60 is fine. They'll make money at 60. And that's what you got. You're going to have companies that are going to have all this money. They may not be growing so much as they could be, but they're going to buy things, and that's where it's going to be challenging. But, it's going to be a short wrap-up this week. Next week we'll feature some of these other ones. Look at all the stocks we bought. So these are the ones we'll feature over the times, the next few months, as we get hopefully all winners. But if we do have someone, we'll just drop them out and just follow threads. I'm on threads. You can see the training in kind of real time. I just tell you what I'm going to buy and sell, and I think it's going to be a good year. Not as good as last year, but I think we can do good. I'll see you next week, and stay safe.